The morning she stopped running from herself. Her apartment was small, smaller than she'd imagined when she signed the lease. But it wasn't the space that made her feel trapped. It was the excuse. Every morning, she'd glance at her running shoes by the door and whisper the same lie, not enough room. She wanted to move not just her body, but something deeper, something stuck. But the gym memberships expired unused, and the outdoor runs never survived past February. The problem wasn't motivation. It was momentum she couldn't build in a space that felt like it was shrinking around her. Then one night, scrolling through her phone at 2 a.m., she saw something that stopped her mid-scroll. A woman in a studio apartment barely bigger than hers, walking steadily on a compact treadmill tucked beside her couch. No drama, no transformation montage, just movement, just space reclaimed. She thought, what if the problem was never the apartment? What happened next didn't feel like a decision. It felt like permission. Permission to stop waiting for the perfect setup, the bigger place, the right season. She started researching electric treadmills designed for small spaces, and what she found surprised her. These weren't the bulky gym machines she'd imagined. They were foldable, whisper quiet, built for people exactly like her, people who wanted to move without rearranging their entire lives. But doubt crept in fast. Would it actually fit? Would the neighbors downstairs hear every step? Would this just become another dust collector? She almost didn't order it. Part of her still believed she was the problem. Not the space, not the tools. That if she couldn't make it work with what she had, adding something new wouldn't change anything. But something in her refused to let that story win. Not this time. The box arrived on a Thursday, smaller than expected. Lighter, too. She assembled it in 20 minutes, standing in the middle of her living room, sweating more from nerves than effort. When she plugged it in and pressed start, the belt hummed to life, so quiet she almost didn't believe it was running. She stepped on, one foot then the other, and walked. No fireworks, no instant clarity, just movement, just breath, just her body remembering what it felt like to go somewhere without leaving home. What surprised her most wasn't the treadmill itself. It was how quickly her mornings shifted. She started waking up earlier, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. The walk became her ritual, her reset. 20 minutes before coffee, 30 before work emails, sometimes an hour with a podcast or nothing at all. Just the rhythm of her steps and the slow, steady hum beneath her. Researchers at Stanford found something similar. When routine meets meaning, consistency finally sticks. It's not about perfection. It's about creating a space, literal and mental, where showing up feels possible. Where the barrier to start is so low, the excuse dissolves before it forms. She wasn't chasing weight loss or marathon times. She was chasing feeling, the feeling of agency, of forward motion, of choosing herself, even in a space that felt too small for her dreams. But it wasn't always smooth. There were mornings she wanted to quit. Days when her knees ached, when motivation ghosted her, when the treadmill felt like just another thing demanding her attention. She'd stand beside it, arms crossed, negotiating with herself. Just 5 minutes. Just walk. Just move. And she did. Because the treadmill wasn't the real change. It was the evidence. Evidence that she could commit. That small didn't mean powerless. That her apartment, her body, her life could hold more than she thought. One morning her neighbor knocked. She froze, bracing for a noise complaint. Instead, the woman smiled and asked, "What treadmill is that? I can't even hear it." They talked for 20 minutes in the hallway, about space, about movement, about how hard it is to prioritize yourself when the world keeps shrinking the room you're allowed to take up. Her neighbor ordered one the next week. That's when it clicked. This wasn't just about fitness. It was about reclaiming possibility in small spaces, about refusing to wait for permission, from landlords, from life circumstances, from the version of herself she thought she needed to become before she could start. What surprised me most wasn't just how a compact electric treadmill improved my experience with staying active in tight spaces, but how everything started to feel different once I switched to the right method. I wasn't expecting such a clear change, and honestly, I tested it more than a few times before I figured out what really worked. This isn't a promotion, just sharing real results that made a noticeable difference for me. I'll leave the link below if you want to explore what I mean. Because here's what most people don't realize about electric treadmills for small apartments. The design has evolved. Modern, compact models fold vertically, slide under beds, tuck behind furniture. They're built with noise reduction technology, rubberized belts, cushioned decks, motors engineered for whisper-quiet operation. Some max out at just £45, easy enough to move between rooms or store in a closet when guests come over. The specs matter, but not in the way you'd think. It's not about top speed or incline levels. It's about threshold, the difference between "I could do this" and "this is too complicated." A treadmill that takes 10 minutes to set up will sit unused. One that unfolds in 30 seconds becomes part of your life. She learned to look for key features: walking speeds between 0.5 and 4 miles per hour, LED displays that show time and distance without overwhelming data, safety keys that auto-stop the belt if you step off. But more than anything, she learned to trust her instinct about what fit her life, not someone else's idea of what fitness should look like. Her best friend visited and laughed, not unkindly, at the setup. "You walk in your living room now?" "Yeah," she said, smiling. "Turns out I don't need a destination to move forward." Her friend tried it. 10 minutes, casual pace, chatting the whole time. When she stepped off, she looked surprised. That was actually nice. They ordered coffee and kept talking, but something had shifted. Movement didn't have to be performance. It didn't have to be scheduled, tracked, optimized. It could just be woven into the fabric of an ordinary day, as natural as making breakfast or opening the blinds. Medical professionals often note that consistency beats intensity for long-term health. Walking 20 minutes daily reduces cardiovascular risk more effectively than sporadic high-intensity sessions. It regulates blood sugar, supports joint health, improves mood by triggering endorphin release. The body doesn't care if you're walking through a park or across your living room. It responds to movement, to rhythm, to the simple act of showing up. But she wasn't thinking about studies or statistics. She was thinking about how her genes fit differently, how her mind felt clearer by 9 a.m., how she stopped scrolling social media the moment she woke up because something better was waiting, something that made her feel alive instead of distracted. Somewhere between the failures and the quiet mornings, she found rhythm and peace. Not the Instagram kind, the private kind. The kind that doesn't announce itself or need validation. The kind that whispers, "You're doing it," even when no one's watching. She started experimenting, walking backward to engage different muscles, adding light hand weights, playing music one day, silence the next. She realized the treadmill wasn't a constraint. It was a canvas, a space to explore what movement could mean when it wasn't attached to guilt, comparison, or external goals. Her sister called one evening, venting about gym anxiety. "I just feel like everyone's watching me, judging my pace, my form, everything." She listened, then said, "What if you didn't have to go anywhere?" Her sister paused. "What do you mean? What if you could walk right now in your space without anyone watching?" The conversation shifted. Her sister had never considered a treadmill for her apartment. "I thought I didn't have room." "You do," she said. "You just didn't know it yet." 3 weeks later, her sister sent a photo, treadmill tucked beside her bookshelf, earbuds in, mid-stride, smiling. That's the thing about small changes. They ripple, not always in obvious ways, not always immediately, but they ripple. When she looked in the mirror again, it wasn't her reflection that had changed. It was what she believed about herself. She wasn't waiting anymore. Not for the bigger apartment, the perfect timing, the version of herself who had it all figured out. She was moving, literally and metaphorically, and that made all the difference. Some nights she'd walk after dinner just to think, to process, to let her body work through what her mind couldn't untangle. The treadmill became more than equipment. It became a partner in her life, a quiet witness to her growth, a reminder that progress doesn't always announce itself with fireworks. Sometimes it's just a steady hum beneath your feet and the choice to keep going. Her mornings now start with light filtering through the window, the soft whir of the belt, and the feeling that she's exactly where she's supposed to be. Not because life got easier, but because she learned to move through it differently. She still lives in the same small apartment, But it doesn't feel small anymore, it feels like hers, like a space that holds her fully, her ambitions, her setbacks, her quiet victories, and that, she realizes, was what she'd been searching for all along. Not more space, just permission to take up the space she already had. Tell us what part of this story resonated most and where you're watching from. See you in the next video. Bye.